VHS adds instant nostalgic feel to your tracks. It's extremely flexible. You can get everything from subtle warmth and color all the way to extreme static and pitch wobble effects. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to get the most out of this tool. VHS is an amazing tool for gluing melodies together and adding tons of color right out of the box. I've got a synthwave track that I'm working on. Let's take a listen to it on this synth stack. So when we pull it up, it's got a really simple control set, just 4 sliders. But this is one of those modules that brings its own vibe and color immediately when you load it. It's got all that warmth and fullness built in. Take a listen to what this is doing just at the default settings. And what's special about this one is just loading this module in your chains is going to give your track that pleasant character right out of the box. I don't even have to touch it and it's already sounding so much bigger. But let's look at these controls. First up, we have calibration, which emulates the audio path calibration of an old VHS unit. And you're going to hear that this pretty drastically changes the tone that we get out of this module. So when we push it up, I'm getting a lot more presence and clarity out of the top end. And when we pull it down, we're getting a darker, warmer, fuller sound. And what I love about this calibration is it's like lo-fi air and lo-fi warmth. It's not a clean sounding tone calibration by any means, which is what makes it cool. The algorithm powering VHS is really powerful. It's what gives it its unique tone and that little extra bit of fullness. And because of these special tonal and dynamic properties, it's an incredible tool to use on drums and percussion. You can especially hear it on this drum bus. So instantly you're hearing how much fullness and color we're getting out of this module. But we're also getting a nice roundness on the transient, which our ears perceive as fatness. And it's one of the reasons why VHS sounds the way that it does, and why it sounds really pleasant on drums like this. The saturation slider directly controls this behavior. So you're going to hear how much thickness and fatness we can add just by boosting this slider. So it's an auto gain saturation algorithm. It's got tons of fatness and color built right into it. The way that VHS models the classic static effect is really unique, and it's completely source dependent, which means that whatever static you get is going to change based on what signal you feed it. And this gives it that little extra bit of realism like an old staticky VHS tape. And we can do some really interesting stuff with that if we push it to the extremes. Listen to this static on the drums. You're going to hear that burst of static with each hit. So of course we can get really creative with this if we push it to the extremes. I like using it on drums, especially on top loops. It's really cool to add that static layer, especially if you want a loop to feel bigger. And of course, it produces those ultra lo-fi static effects. And this is just on the drums, but you can imagine what it would sound like layering this source-dependent static throughout a mix and the types of lo-fi effects that you can unlock with this. Now, of course, if you don't want any static, you can set it all the way down to 0%, and that will be no static in the signal at all. Let's go back to the melody because I want to show you this special variance slider on VHS. You might think of this kind of like a wow and flutter effect, but it's a bit more complex what's actually happening under the hood. And to my ear, this produces an even more natural and organic sounding pitch wobble. So you can hear what I mean. It's shifting the pitch and creating that wobble effect, but in a different way than you would expect with a tape or vinyl wow and flutter. And this is one of my favorite ways to add that organic movement to a melody. I usually like it somewhere between 100 and 130%. Feels really organic at these settings, but of course you can push it way up if you want to get a very obvious pitch wobble effect. So that's VHS. It's an incredibly powerful module that can add some instant color, vibe, and glue to your mixes, but you can also abuse it with the variance and the static and get some really creative effects out of it. VHS is included in both Blockchain and Blockchain Ultra, so you can use this in your chains and get even more creative when you start combining it with other modules. Let us know in the comments how you're using VHS and what modules you'd like us to dig into next. Just about every module in Blockchain Ultra is incredibly deep like this. There's a lot going on in every single one of these algorithms, so there's a lot to explore. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like, leave us a comment, and subscribe for more tutorials like this. And as always, happy music making.